Recorded Books and One Click Digital present A Street Cat Named Bob and How He Saved My Life by James Bowen, narrated by Kristopher Milnes.
Chapter 1. Fellow Travellers. There's a famous quote I read somewhere. It says we're all given second chances every day of our lives. They're there for the taking, it's just that we don't usually take them. I spent a big chunk of my life proving that quote. I was given a lot of opportunities, sometimes on a daily basis. For a long time I failed to take any of them. But then, in the early spring of 2007, that finally began to change. It was then that I befriended Bob. Looking back on it, something tells me it might have been his second chance too. I first encountered him on a gloomy Thursday evening in March. London hadn't quite shaken off the winter, and it was still bitingly cold on the streets, especially when the winds blew in off the Thames. There had even been a hint of frost in the air that night, which was why I'd arrived back at my new sheltered accommodation in Tottenham, North London, a little earlier than usual, after a day of busking around Covent Garden. As normal, I had my black guitar case and rucksack slung over my shoulders, but this evening I also had my closest friend, Belle, with me. We'd gone out together years ago, but we're just mates now. We were going to eat a cheap takeaway curry and watch a movie on the small black and white television set I'd managed to find in a charity shop around the corner. As usual, the lift in the apartment block wasn't working, so we headed for the first flight of stairs, resigned to making the long trudge up to the 5th floor. The strip lighting in the hallway was broken, and part of the ground floor was swathed in darkness, but as we made our way to the stairwell, I couldn't help noticing a pair of glowing eyes in the gloom. When I heard a gentle, slightly plaintive meowing, I realised what it was. Edging closer, in the half-light I could see a ginger cat curled up on a doormat outside one of the ground floor flats in the corridor that led off the hallway. I'd grown up with cats, and had always had a bit of a soft spot for them. As I moved in and got a good look, I could tell he was a Tom, a male. I hadn't seen him around the flats before, but even in the darkness I could tell there was something about him. I could already tell that he had something of a personality. He wasn't in the slightest bit nervous, in fact, completely the opposite. There was a quiet, unflappable confidence about him. He looked like he was very much at home here in the shadows, and to judge by the way he was fixing me with a steady, curious, intelligent stare, I was the one who was straying into his territory. It was as if he was saying, "So, who are you, and what brings you here?" I couldn't resist kneeling down and introducing myself. "Hello, mate."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?